Yo, what's up, YouTube? What's up? The sun is beaming on my face right now. But, anyways, told you I'm gonna be a little more consistent when I post my videos. I don't know why I'm always wearing a black shirt. I know, but that's kind of like my little thing right now. But as y'all can see, I cut my hair or whatnot. So, I ain't trying to do too much on this video, Had to do a little self-maintenance. After looking at myself in my last video, I was like, nah, I gotta cut my hair. But anyways, I need help with an intro and with an outro. So one of y'all can help me in the comments with that. That'd be beautiful. And so thank you. But so today I took a trade. Well, not today. I placed a trade yesterday, and I closed out the trade today. One, because the trade was kind of risky. I post the trade right here. The trade was kind of risky because one, it was a kind of like a risk reward. Every trade is a risk reward trade, you know what I'm saying? But on this one, the reason why it was very risky is because I settled it. Pause. I let it bake overnight, and I left it up to the market to decide what they was gonna do with it. And that was bad because I really ain't had that much aspiration on the contract. And so, once the market opened, I had my stop loss and everything. And so literally in the pre-market, the shit had, hit my stop loss or whatnot, but I didn't close the trade. And so when the market opened, boom, immediately I was down like 30% in the trade. And I'm like, shit. I had two choices right there. I was like, I can either close this trade out right now, or, I can wait, 20, 30 minutes, to see what the market do. Because honestly, the market is always at its wildest, I'm going to say the first 20 minutes. And I'm going to say like the first 20, 30 minutes, the market is its wildest, closing at its closing point. It always gets as wild as to it. Then at midday point as well. But so looking at my other, contracts, my other trades that I did, one thing that I started to understand is my expiration dates, right? So I see that a lot of my trades, I don't necessarily be wrong on the trend, but necessarily wrong on the expiration date, such as going for contracts, smaller contracts, so I can get, more contracts, you know what I'm saying? But the problem with that is the expiration on those contracts, so time is very prevalent. I don't know if that's the right word in them contracts or whatnot. So that's that with the trading. So, in profit for today. Let's see, outside of that, what's outside of that? Outside of that, yeah, I'm reading a book called The Man, The Moment Demands, right? I'm reading a book outside. What was this? Was it yesterday or this Sunday? I don't know. But I'm reading a book, and the book say, let me get a thumbnail real quick. Alright, so ignore that too. Alright, so anyways, damn, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I'm reading a book the other day, and it's called The Man, The Moment Demands. And I'm outside, I'm just looking, it's a little drizzling and stuff like that. And I'm on our balcony, and I'm looking at, I'm looking around, but then I'm reading a book. And I'm just, in my head, I'm like, life been so peaceful and whatnot, right? Very, very peaceful. And all of a sudden, I just look up, and I see a motherfucking rainbow. Yo, it's really a rainbow out here. I'm literally reading a book, and it's a rainbow. It's a motherfucking rainbow. And I'm like, it's a motherfucking rainbow. And I'm like, it was so, I see rainbows all the time, in the sky. I don't know why, but, I'm like, damn, it's really a rainbow right here. And I can see it, as clear as day. And, it just felt so magical and spiritual. Look at my homeboy over there, Makai Jackson. But yeah, so I'm looking at the sky, I'm looking at the rainbow and I'm just, thinking about, life been so magical, life is so beautiful, life is so much of a blessing. I had no choice but to just be in awe because, you don't really see it like that. But, nevertheless, this a little tune in on the morning. I'm on my little morning walk trying to get my little steps in. Again, I did just tell y'all I just went to surgery. So, damn, licking up. Again, I did just tell y'all I went to surgery. So, I've been just trying to, get a little walk in, just stay in shape a little bit. So, yeah, y'all, I told y'all I just went through surgery, whatnot. And so, trying to just keep my health and my mindset positive, has been a big priority of mine. But, so right now, I'm still MIA. I can't talk for nothing. I'm still MIA, on my media platforms. I haven't really been texting anybody back, just to give myself that time and everything, mentally, just to prepare myself, for the upcoming year or whatnot. Because for one, I'm finna be very bold in my adventures this year. I want to travel more, and y'all gonna see a lot of that. I'm telling y'all gonna see a lot of that. Traveling more. I'm giving y'all a little more content, with me in school. Definitely that. And outside of that, yeah, just try to, get y'all more content on various things in my life. Right now, I know a lot of the videos, it's just me talking, and if y'all listening to me, honestly, I really appreciate y'all because, to hear somebody yap, I ain't gonna lie, I mean, I'm a talker. So, like, if you talking and you yapping to me, I'm a listen. That's just the type of person I am. But, I understand that a lot of people don't like, listening to people just yap or whatnot. But, nevertheless, if you listening to me yap, I greatly appreciate you, especially when it comes to those times where y'all gonna hear me yap about a whole lot of stuff, right? Y'all may be able to catch me yapping about a book I just read. Book. I just picked up this book called The Psychology of Money. That's the newest book that I'm finna go read. So daily, I'm reading like 3 books. Daily, 2 books. One, The Moment Demands. The Moment the Man Demands. That's been a book that I've been reading like in the midday, and then at night I've been in my bed trying to read the Bible as well. Right now I'm in my Proverbs, reading about the Proverbs. But yeah, overall life been very great. No complaints. It's a green Camaro right here, y'all, and this motherfucker look decent. Like, I'm always thinking green is my favorite color, but that's what I'm thinking about getting. I don't want no Camaro. That was my dream car, growing up. But I don't know, right now I'm looking at a BMW or Audi, and I really don't know. I really don't know. Should I go for one of those? Probably, maybe so. But, if y'all watched that video yesterday, boy, I'm telling y'all, man, these bugs out here, boy, they be on alert. But, yeah, y'all, just giving y'all a little update. This video may be quick and maybe not. And I'm going to tune in later. I don't know what I was saying, but yeah, y'all, that's a little bit. I'm finna finish my morning walk, put my little headphones in, listen to my music, and try to get me a couple more laps around this thing. And then later on, we're gonna have us some little conversations or whatnot, and see where the rest of the day take us. God bless. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm on my balcony right now. Wait. In my little apartments at the school complex or whatnot. But it feels good out here, man. I can't wait till they open up our pool. I need to get inside the pool. But anyway, so I took a couple of trades today. I decided to just, once I got home, I was like, the market looking good right now. It's looking very, very bearish for me. So I'm gonna decide to go ahead and hop in and take some trades. And as you can see, You know, I took 3 good trades and 2 bad trades. One of the trades was very bad where I took like a 30% hit. And that was because I'm not gonna lie, I was very impatient on it. Uh, I was I was very impatient on it, so I decided to just, hurry up and exit out the trade. And, the trade did work out afterwards, but ain't no such thing as it working out afterwards because I already exited the trade. But, you know, so right now, I believe that the market is bearish, but instead of me, full porting and buying a couple of swings, I'm like, I'm going to take a step back and just leave it as it is, pull out my other little profits or whatnot and just take out the market, just in case if it is bearish, and I am being bearish right now, if it is bearish, I don't really want to necessarily go all the way in. I'm going to just, come in, do a couple of day trades here and there and just see where I could take some profits as on some puts, because I also think that, a reversal is coming, a big reversal is coming. And, I don't want to get trapped in the process of, the market is bearish right now. But at the same time, because I believe it's bearish and, I think a reversal is coming at the same time, I don't want to full port and thinking that I'm buying at key levels, because at the same time, I really don't know what's going on in the market. And if you don't know what's going on, it's always best to test, take a step back and just, relapse and regroup yourself. But on the other side, Bitcoin is at 60,000. Now, I'm a big fan of Bitcoin. And the reason being is because unlike other assets, Bitcoin is really in its own column. Bitcoin is money, but it's a different bracket of money, if that makes sense. Bitcoin is at 60,000. I don't believe it bottled out, but I did just buy like another grand of Bitcoin. So sitting on some more Bitcoin right now. I'm just, try to stack my Bitcoin up and never sell, letting this be my long-term bag for the future, and everything like that, I ain't gonna tell y'all what to buy, but, if you believe in, wealth and, creating generational wealth, Bitcoin is one of those things right now that you should get in. And again, I don't want you thinking about, a year or two. Think about like at least 10 years from now, and 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when, the economy, have a relapse, have a, what do they say, a second coming, where the money system has changed. A lot of the money is going more digital. So, a big reversal within the economy, within the money is going to change, you know what I'm saying? And so with that being said, like the gap between the wealth and the poor is going to like separate tremendously. And like the things that, you used to be able to buy, you really ain't going to be able to buy in the future. Like think about the stuff that you buy now and how you was a kid, and like all that shit then tripled. So think about 5 years to 10 years from now, like all that shit that you think that you gonna buy in the future, you not gonna be able to buy. So it's best to just sit back and just stack what you can. I'm gonna say for me, far as when it comes to investing, I'm gonna say one of the hardest things for me has been a college student, because like I said again, college is like kind of like rushing my process of it's making me believe that I gotta get it faster, get it quicker, and in a sense I am in a hurry. But then I'm like, if I'm investing, if I'm trading, sitting on this money right now, there's really nothing else I could be doing besides enjoying life. And so I decided to just take a step back from all other stuff and just start to enjoy life. And so now, because I was greedy today in the market, and luckily I came out alive, made a little $100. But luckily, because I came out alive, but I was greedy, I'm gonna just go ahead, sit down and read The Psychology of Money. This is the newest book that I just added to my collection. I read a chapter last night, and I'm gonna probably read a chapter or two today before I go ahead to work later on. Yeah, outside of that, that's pretty much it, So I really hope they open up this pool soon, because man, I can't really do nothing, y'all. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, I know most of y'all who go through surgery and stuff like that, y'all know for any surgical procedure, like that process of healing You just gotta sit down. You can't do nothing. You just gotta just look at life. But on the beautiful side of that, you get to enjoy life though. What else? Oh yeah, y'all. Man, my birthday in September, and I'm really thinking about going out the country too. Like I don't know where. But we'll leave that to September. That's a couple of months from now though. But salute to y'all. Stay focused. To all my people that's into trading and stuff like that and investing. Take your time with it. Don't let nobody else rush you. I know it's a lot of gurus out there that's telling you, what you should do and what you shouldn't do. I'm going to just say learn and isolate yourself from them. You know what I'm saying? Until you able to, perfect your own strategy to where you can actually comprehend, what you're doing instead of just, constantly being influenced by everybody else. So, take your time with it. There's no rush, but it is a rush on being, inside of it. But, outside of that, to my college students that's out there, my college associates, friends, whether you go here or not. By the way, I got to ISU. Take your time in school, but make your connections. Because honestly, I say this all the time. Although I'm in college, I really don't really care about my degree like that. If anything, I'm making sure that my network is good, and so like. It's really not a lot of time on our hands to go be chasing a second degree or third degree because, to be honest, that master degree, yeah, it can potentially get you into a higher field or whatnot, but like all the fields are getting taken over by AI. Y'all, it's crazy. Like AI is really taking over a lot of job industries, and like people think going for a master's or even a doctorate, like the doctorate degrees are very much at risk too, you know what I'm saying, and as targets as well. And so it's like it's very critical that you learn how to make your own money, without being employed. And ain't nothing wrong with being employed. I'm employed right now, but at the same time, don't get comfortable trying to be an employee though. Look how much life it is right now. Freedom is time. And the more you give up your time to go to work, and pay these bills and pay these expenses, the less time you enjoy in the world. And honestly, all I'm gonna say is that, the best way to combat this is to just stay in your own lane, focus on what you need to focus on, and just stay out the way. It ain't too much out here that you can look forward to besides, having a more adventurous life. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, welcome to my talk show. I told you I'm gonna just be talking about stuff, man, until I really get on this camera and just be able to cause like right now I'm just relaxing, stuff like that, but I don't really know what to talk about to y'all or with y'all besides y'all asking me about a topic or something like that. So in the comments below, if y'all ask about a topic or anything to talk about, or if y'all want to talk about anything, or if y'all want me to talk about anything, just put it in the link below. My dumb ass. Put it in the comments below, and I'm gonna read it, and we're gonna go from there. But like, subscribe, share. What else? What else do they say? I already know. But see y'all in the next video.